Hi everybody, it is Saturday afternoon, evening, 5 o'clock, and it's time for Cooking with Carolina. I am Carolina Cooney from the Oak Bluffs Public Library. I'm the programming coordinator, and tonight we are going to be making some cedar plank salmon and a brown rice salad. And as always, this program is sponsored by our library friends of Oak Bluffs who pay for all of our programming, so if you have it available, please do try to donate a little to them. And let's get started. So first thing we'll do is start the grill. And we'll only be using about half the grill, so we don't have to light the whole thing. And right now we'll put that on high. I have the cedar plank that's been soaking for about 45 minutes. And now I'll take it out of the water that it's been soaking in and we'll dry it off as much as we can. It smells good. And we will coat it in some olive oil. Now you may have like a basting brush. I always just tend to use a paintbrush. New, but it's what I usually have handy. I keep it in with my kitchen tools. And so you want to coat both the sides of the cedar plank with the olive oil. It actually really soaks it up. I'm using maybe a teaspoon on both sides. Okay, we have both sides coated there. And now I'll grab the fish out of the refrigerator. Be right back. All right, so here we have our very lovely piece of Faroe Island salmon that I got from the fish market today, the new one that's near the airport and the liquor store. And that it's just a beautiful, beautiful shop. They have gorgeous fish there, so fresh looking. So I'm very excited to give it a try. And this piece, it looks really, really very nice. So I'm coating both sides of the salmon also in olive oil. Luckily, coating this one isn't like the time that I did that whole fish and it had the barbs, and so I tried to coat it in olive oil and it kept pricking me. That was heinous. Alright, so we'll take this and put it skin side down on the plank. Just a smidge wide for the plank. It was a little tough to find the cedar planks. I finally found that at Granite, which you can always count on Granite, except they close early. But other than that, they just have just about everything. They've really come through for me in the last couple of weeks, I gotta say. So I'm just taking a little extra dill that I had, some fresh dill left over from something I made earlier this week. And now we'll look. Hi, Mitnit. My kitty's outside. She's right here. So we will scrape off the grill, even though we're not cooking directly on it. You still want to cook. You always want to clean the grill. All right, and then we're going to turn down to a low, medium low, but pretty low. So when you're cooking on the cedar plank, it is a low temperature that you want to be cooking on. And we'll put our cedar plank on the grill here. And then you close it up and you let it do its thing. It's great. Well, hopefully. I've never done this before, so we're learning together. But I'm sure it'll be fantastic. So now what we will do while that's cooking is make our brown rice salad. So for that, I actually made some brown rice out on the grill earlier on the side burner. And the side burner actually cooked a little hot. It wasn't able to get to as low a temperature as I would like for cooking rice. But hopefully it turned out just fine. You do want to cool it off a bit. Woohoo. Oh yeah, little brown on the bottom there. I had a feeling, but that's okay. I tend to like it that way, a little crispy. I'm gonna go rinse this in some cold water, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm a big fan of brown rice, and I like wild rice a lot too. I love the flavor and the sort of nuttiness of it. This time I just used brown rice because that was what I had, but you can definitely use a combination of brown rice and wild rice for even more of a lovely dish. So, shake out the excess water here. So for your brown rice, you'd use about a cup of brown rice, or a cup of brown and wild rice combined, and then 2 cups of water. You bring that to a boil with a little salt, and then turn it down to low once it boils, and boil it for about 50 minutes. Then let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes. So now we will use that same pot that we use the rice for, or you can get like a little pan, and we're going to take about a tablespoon of pistachios, which I have to shell. Maybe 1 or 2 more. It was a beautiful fall day here on Martha's Vineyard. Pretty warm, The island, I had to go to Edgartown earlier, and the island is so crowded. It is like it's summertime. It was packed. There were bikers everywhere. I was really surprised, but not surprised. Okay, so I'll do one or two more. Why not? Now we'll turn on our pan that we're using here. Woo-hoo. And just put in these pistachios and lightly toast them for a minute or two. Won't take long. Now to this rice, while those are toasting, and we check on them from time to time, we'll have our lemon. But when you're having your lemon, think about how, if you're doing this with the fish, that you're having fish also, and so you can see that I'm having it the long ways, not the round ways, because that allows you to use the other half that you're not using for the juice to make some lemon wedges that you can put on your plate for the fish. So you can do that and go ahead and put those to the side for when your fish is done. And you can squeeze. Oh. The cat's up in the tree. Kitten, I should say. She is not a cat, she's a kitten. Now we'll squeeze the juice of the one lemon. You can use a little reamer if you have it, or if you want to use a little juicer to get the juice out and not get pits in there. You can do that. Me, I'm just going to hand squeeze it in there and let the chips fall where they may. So we have our 2 cups of cooked and chilled, or slightly chilled, rinsed in cool water, brown rice. And now half a lemon's worth of juice. Let's check on our pistachios here. Give them a little shake. They're doing just fine. They can hang out. And now we want just a little handful of mint, which I happen to have, if I can turn you here, I have my little herb bucket I made last week. And of course a handful is sort of a nebulous measurement, so you can kind of, if you like it minty, put more mint in. If you're not sure about it, put just a little bit. I like mint, so I'm going to get as much as I can. And now we will lightly chop this, roughly chop it. You never know, we may get a visit from the chickens too. Wouldn't that be exciting? Then we'll put our mint in there. And then if you have like some arugula or radicchio, or if you want to add some sort of little lettucey herb like that, you could do that. I don't happen to have that today, so I'm not going to. Let's check on our pistachios. Give it a shake. They can go a little longer. Now, let's chop up a garlic clove. I really want to check on that salmon because I'm curious, but I don't want to open it because that would change the temperature. So I'm just gonna be patient and let it do its thing. I have to trust in the cedar plank. And of course here you are putting this into just a salad. So you want to mince it down pretty fine. Unless you like getting big hunks of garlic in a mouthful. That in our mixture. Let's check on our pistachios. I think they're ready to come off. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Let those cool just a moment. Ooh. Hot, hot, hot. So we're at about 250 if you have a thermometer on your grill that you can look at. Right now we're cooking about 250. You want to be about 250 or 300 is a good temperature to be. Now, hey, nice hair. I'm doing my show. Yeah. Okay, now we want about 2 handfuls of some dried fruit. So I have some cranberries. You could use cranberries or raisins or apricots, goji berries.
Sorry guys, that was not very pleasant.
Hopefully they didn't even hear it.
Who?
The audience.
How? Are they watching?
All right, Mom's doing her cooking show. Everybody, it's Saturday.
Let's go.
Saturday.
I gotta talk to you later about some shoes, dude.
He has shoes. All right, so now we have I have raisins and dried cranberries that I'm chopping up into here. So I've got about a handful of each of those, and we'll chop them roughly. While letting the pistachios cool off just a bit before we chop them too. All right, so we'll throw that in there. Almost looks like bacon. I thought about using sun-dried tomatoes too, which you could definitely do. I might try that next time. I just had a vision of the rice and olive oil and some basil, sun-dried tomatoes, garlic. Sounds yummy. Okay, now let's do our nuts, which we will just crush a bit. You could also experiment with different nuts. These are pistachios, but maybe if you're using sun-dried tomatoes and basil, you could use like a walnut. Would be good, I think. Now the nuts you're not really chopping per se, you're just kind of crushing them a little bit. Or very loose chop. Toss them in there. And now we'll do about a tablespoon of olive oil, which I will guesstimate. And a little of our favorite Malden's sea salt. Bit of pepper. And now you can ideally use a spoon to mix it up, or you could use your hand if you like. Or whatever you have handy, obviously, like a knife. It works. So there we have it. There is the brown rice salad, which is such a lovely accoutrement for some salmon, and so healthy too. What a healthy dinner. So I think it's about time that we can check in on our salmon. Well, it's definitely not done yet, but it looks good. I think I'll actually turn up the heat just a little bit. So maybe you want to cook it more towards 300 rather than the 250. I think I had it down a little too low. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to finish, we'll taste test our salad. So I will be right back. I'm going to grab a little plate and a spoon. Okay, and I got a plate as well. So let's try a little bit of our salad here. See what we think. See if the rice ended up cooking enough, because I did stop it early. It might be a little, hopefully not too crunchy. Very nice flavor. I like it a lot. I think as it sits too, the flavors will meld even more and it'll get even tastier. So, very, very good. And it would be fun to put different fruits in there too. You could even throw all of them. Goji berries and apricots and cranberries and dried blueberries and go wild. So we've gotten up a little bit. We're about to 300. And I really smell the cedar plank quite a bit more. Let's have a peek. It's still doesn't really look done to me, but I think I'm gonna poke it. And I'm gonna rotate it. Definitely not done yet. So when you're slow cooking it, it does take a bit longer than maybe you're used to taking for cooking salmon. I think we've been on there probably at least 15-20 minutes now, and I'd say it has a good 5 or 10 more minutes. So you can do a little cleanup while you wait for it to finish. Always a good thing to do. Also a good time to get any other side dishes ready. You could do a nice little green salad with this too. Would be very nice. Throw that off for the chickens. And I bring out a nice big tray, which is handy for cleanup when you're doing your cooking outside. Of course, you probably won't do all the prep outside like I do, but it's much easier to do in the kitchen where all your things are. We'll check back in a few minutes. Now, this being Cape Cod, and a lot of the houses, including my own, being a Cape Cod made with cedar shingles on the outside, you could probably just take one of your cedar shingles and soak that in water and use that to grill on too. Though you might want something a little thicker, but I think it would work. I was very tempted just to do that. and have a special guest kitten appearance while we wait. This is Mittens. She's very new to going outside, so it's all very exciting for her. She probably also smells the salmon. She's still a bit of a scratcher too, that one. She's getting there. She has two wild boys to keep her busy. Oh yeah, this is looking a lot better. We are flaking now. Of course you don't want to mutilate your salmon if you're going to be serving it to guests, but since I'm not, this makes it easier to see how done it is. And I think it's really quite there. So I'm going to get ready to take it off. We'll turn off our grill now. This is the hard part. I've never done this part before. I think what I'll do is leave the cedar plank on the grill and move the salmon to the plate. So here you can see our finished product, the cedar plank salmon with just a touch of dill and a little salt, pepper I'll put on there. Some lemon on the side. This was a very basic recipe. You could definitely get fancier. And let's just have a little taste test. It's very good. I don't know if I really taste the salmon, the cedar plank that much. Maybe with some further bites. Try one more. Ooh, I just got a touch of it, a little smoky flavor. I like it. So, there you have it. We have our cedar plank salmon and our brown rice salad. So, happy dinner, and thanks for joining me. See you next week.